Welcome to Imagine Crafts, and Colin's here with a Happy Father's Day card. Let's go with the products I used to create this card. VersaColor Ink in Canary, VersaFine ink in Onyx Black, Memento Dewdrops in Pistachio, Olive Grow, and I have some Emboss clear powder, clear embossing powder. I have on-point glue and tear tape. Those that we use to put our card together. For my stash, I have a Sunray stencil, Joy Clair stamps. This is called Good Vibes. I'm going to use the Jeep that's here on the bottom. And then from Hero Arts stamp and cut set called Happy, I'll be using the die that says Happy and the sentiment that reads Father's Day. I'll also be bringing in from Gina Designs some matte and enamel black dots. Our stamping cardstock, which is accent ultra smooth opaque white, and I have already die cut my sentiment. I did it 3 times out of heavyweight white cardstock and once out of this green shimmer cardstock. I have some masking paper here, and that's about an inch to an inch and a half. 80-pound weight layering cardstock in a light blue, and a heavyweight 110-pound card base, and then we're going to use this in a landscape form. And I have a small scrap of the same 80-pound in light blue for the rest of our sentiment. So I'm going to clear this off my desk so we can get started. First, I start by putting the masking paper towards the bottom. I'm going to create a ground for our Jeep later on, but first I start with my stencil, and I'm going to use my VersaColor here in Canary to color the sun rays. I'm going to fill this in, and then I'll remove my stencil. I'll bring in more of that Canary ink and fill in the sun. I remove the mask and I move it to the top, and then I brought in some gray flannel Memento ink because otherwise it looked like my Jeep was floating in the sky. So now I'm going to stamp my Jeep using my VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and I'm going to use the Emboss in Clair to heat emboss my Jeep. Once I do that, I'm going to stamp my secondary sentiment, which is Father's Day, here on the little scrap of blue. And once I do that, I can put away my embossing powder. Once that's out of our way, I'm going to bring in this little palette, and I'm going to press onto that Pistachio and Olive Grow ink. Those are Memento inks. And I'm going to use a fine detail brush to use these inks to watercolor my Jeep. And I'm trying to get this Jeep in like a military color green, and that's why I picked these 2 colors. So I get all this Jeep colored in. I'm using the Olive Grove for the darker details. I bring in some of the VersaColor ink and Canary for my headlights. And then I will bring in a little summer sky here just for my windshield. I realized it would be a stark white against that blue sky. Once that's all done, I clear that out of the way and I fussy cut my Jeep. Here's my Jeep all colored. Now I'm going to bring in some tear tape to adhere the blue panel onto our card base. So I'm removing the backing off of this. I get that onto my card base. Once I get this onto my card base, I can then adhere my sentiment and my Jeep. I'm going to trim down the Father's Day part of our sentiment and flag my end. And then I'm going to adhere our sentiment using the on-point glue. I'm going to place that there, and then I'll adhere it to the upper left-hand corner. I'll put an acrylic block on it to keep it while it dries, and I'm going to put some foam tape on the back of our Jeep here, and I will be placing that in the center of our card so that it looks like it's coming towards you with the sun behind it. Next, I'll bring in my the enamel dots in matte black, and I'll place 2 by the sentiment and 3 in a cluster towards the bottom right hand side. I like these black matte dots They're perfect for masculine cards. So here's our card or finish. Let's go over the products I used. I used the Terra tape, On Point glue, some Joy Clair stamp called Good Vibes for our Jeep, Hero Art stamp and cut and called Happy for our sentiment, and our inks are VersaColor and Canary, and we use that for our rays and our headlights. VersaFine that we use for our sentiment and to stamp our Jeep. To color our Jeep, we use Pistachio and Olive Grove with a little VersaColor on our headlights, Summer Sky for our windshield, and gray flannel for our road. I also have used some Gina Marie Designs enamel dots for our finishing touches. We used our embossing powder in clear to set our sentiment as well as our Jeep. But like always, I'll have everything in the description box below with links as to where you can find the products. Thank you for being here, and I hope you found some inspiration today.